Welcome to Auto Uncovered, where we open the dashboard glove box of the automotive industry and rummage around and all the crap in there. Mr. Cadogan, how are we this week?
Where else would the glove box be?
Look, the glove box could be anywhere.
Have you ever had a car that didn't have the glove box in the dashboard? Because I haven't.
Okay, no.
I just did a quick inventory of the 6 billion cars I've driven.
No, I'm gonna call you bluff here. I reckon there would be, I think, from memory, the Honda S660 doesn't have a glove box. It's a Japanese K car, tiny thing, and I'm pretty sure its glove box is actually between the seats.
Well, I stand corrected.
Thank you very much.
That was a brilliant introduction, and it covered the full gamut of automotive this and that.
What are you talking about? What are our topics today? What are you talking about?
I'm glad you've asked why I've asked you here today, because I know you're a massive tool guy, and we're going to do a little bit of tool chat. Plus, we're going to talk about me going back in time 20 years and equipping myself with a fine automobile from that era, almost due for its 20th registration.
That's exciting.
And what are you going to inflict on our friends in the audience today?
I'm starting with a question. I would love your thoughts and opinions of Fiat vamoosing from our Australian shores. And I'd also like let's have a chat around the largest Stellantis thing, because something else has happened this week in terms of Stellantis.
Okay.
That it worries me.
Okay, so what is the difference between Fiat being here and Fiat not being here when they only sell 3 cars a year?
Yeah.
Like, is there a tangible difference? Is the whole market going to implode, and are the goalposts going to shift in a massive way? You know, like if Toyota pulled out, that'd be interesting. Fiat pulling out, I'd suggest they pulled out 5 or 6 years ago, and their management only just decided to make it official.
Yeah. It is sad that the most amount of press coverage they've had in the last probably 10 years is the fact that they're leaving. Nothing else.
Yeah,
nothing
they needed
else,
some other press coverage.
Nothing else sort of raised the flags for what they're doing.
Bit of a shit if you own a 500 though.
It is.
And particularly if it's under warranty. Presumably they're going to have to do something about that, like Holden, you can still get your car serviced and recalls and things of that nature. Like, there would be ongoing obligations. And I think they could still sell parts here. Their dealers would like to sell parts to those tragic fools who own one.
Is this the start of Stellantis moving out of Australia?
It's hard to see any of the Stellantis brands being profitable, isn't it? Like the mainstream ones, like Jeep. Yep. I can't see Jeep being profitable. And if you're a Jeep dealer, it must be extremely difficult to devote significant real estate. You know how dealers are all multi-franchised and they're in this cluster of brands, and they allocate real estate to the brands based on what brings them the most cash, right? So if you own a Jeep franchise and it's together with a whole bunch of other brands, it must be increasingly difficult to devote sort of pro rata real estate to Jeep, because the sales have just diminished to virtually nothing.
Yeah, pretty much everything under the banner. Like Peugeot, absolutely struggle street. As we just said, Jeep, Alfa Romeo, Maserati, obviously Fiat now gone. A Bath will also be the same as that. Even in terms of talking about parts, we featured a 124 Spider a little while ago, which is a Mazda MX-5.
Yeah.
The problem with the 124 Spider, cracking great car to drive. Like, what an experience, fantastic. The problem is we know of cars that are being written off due to minor cosmetic damage because they don't make things like the plastic grill between the headlights. That's not made anymore, and there's no parts left anywhere in the world. And insurance companies won't allow you to 3D print a part, or sometimes even use an aftermarket part. So certain people are having their car written off because someone's backed into it in a car park.
Jesus.
Nothing wrong with the car except for the aesthetics. And you go, well, if you're in the market trying to decide between a 124, a Bath, or a MX-5, why would you buy the car that has so many more issues with it? And obviously they haven't sold that car new for a long time. But even on the used market, it's just too much of a risk. And I think that's going to be the same with the 500. I think we're going to start running out of parts.
But the great tragedy of that 124 is that 95% of it is Mazda.
Yeah, it's a great car.
But in terms of everything that matters, that you think, Jesus, a diff or an engine or gearbox or those major components, even major body panels like windscreens and bonnets and things of that nature, you'd think they'd be pretty close.
Well, here's the problem. They're not. So with there's little
The
things.
windscreen would be.
No, okay, windscreen, yes, but not the bits of plastic that go either side of the windscreen, which have to come off to get the windscreen out.
Yeah, right.
So you can put the MX-5 bits on there, but they're not the right colour coding. They're actually slightly different.
Yeah,
so
right.
if you want your car to be a legit Abarth 124 Spider, you can't, from memory, at the time we shot it, I don't think you can actually buy those two bits of plastic anymore. And they're not clip-on, clip-off arrangements. Once they're off, they're broken and they're off. So you've got to buy new ones.
One-time use.
Yeah. And also, I think from memory, the replacement cost, even a windscreen on an ND MX-5, which is the 124 Spider, I think was in excess of $2,000.
You're kidding.
Because you've got to calibrate your ADAS systems and all that kind of stuff. Whereas if you buy the NC MX-5, which is the model before it, it's about $200. Also, it's funny. It's a shame as well with the 124 because it's got the same engine as what you'll find in a Abarth 695 and 595, which is a shame because that's about the time they got that engine right.
Yeah.
In the early ones, nightmare.
Yeah.
Later ones, quite good.
That's a shit sandwich, but for a small number of people.
Yeah. There's a bigger issue here. So obviously, look, I think this is Stellantis moving out of Australia. Personally, I think this is them starting to fade to black. I think, unfortunately, I worry that Alfa won't be too far behind. I think out of all of their brands, I think Jeep and Peugeot might be the two that will be the last to go. Here's the one that worries me. Maserati. Now, the reason being, Maserati is sort of the flagship brand of the Stellantis group. And they recently released, I think it's the Gran Turismo is probably the most popular selling car of the Maserati group.
Well, Ferrari's in the Stellantis group, though, isn't it?
No, Ferrari's independent.
Is it really?
Yeah, Ferrari have nothing to do with Fiat anymore. Ferrari's its own thing.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't get that memo.
Yeah, I think I'm pulling numbers out of the air here. I think from 2012, 2013, something like that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they're an independent thing.
Okay.
But Maserati, they've just released an update to the Gran Turismo, but the ads they've used are completely AI. There is no actual car. Nothing's actually been filmed.
It's now or never. It's now when no one is watching us.
And it's like they didn't subscribe to the most expensive version of ChatGPT. Oh, no. There are clear mistakes in the ad.
No.
Yeah, there's a couple of videos I've found them on Instagram of people pulling the ad apart, and it's dodgy. Like wheels changing colour as a car moves around a corner, and people that are clearly not people in the background, and all sorts of craziness. And it's clearly AI. But it makes me think, okay, so here's one of your flagship cars, one of the most important cars to show what Stellantis is capable of.
Yeah.
And you're not even willing to spend let's say, $2 or $3 million to go and shoot something properly, a proper press release here. You're not willing to do that. Instead, your exposure of this new updated model is AI slop.
That's on Claude or ChatGPT or
and they've done
something.
a bad job at it.
That's terrible. That in a sense, that's almost worse than Jaguar's effort with the Teletubbies.
Yeah.
You know, the hammer-wielding Teletubbies. At least that was human.
Yeah. I do have, this is going to possibly be controversial, at the risk of sounding ageist, think of the demographic of Maserati. Generally, it's of the more mature demographic of people. You know, maybe over 55s, over 60s.
And well-heeled too. Like, can't quite stretch to a Ferrari, but, you know, they want something better than an Alfa.
Yep.
So it fits in. Like, it's a strategic fit.
Then think of the demographic of people that struggle to spot AI slop on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe Maserati or Stellantis just went, well, hang on a sec. We're only selling these bloody things to over 60s. Let's just make an AI ad because they're never going to tell the difference.
I had this very confronting thing happen to me during the week. I wasn't going to bring it up, but hey, here we are. YouTube Music recommends a shit ton of music to me because I run off the end of a playlist and I just keep listening, right? Sure. And I listen to this metal song from Full Metal Patriot, which sounds like a,
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I was listening to a particular song. You can look it up. It's Full Metal Patriot's new single, Big Stick. Right? I'm thinking, cool. Yeah, that's a bit of me. This is awesome. So I'm doing a bit of a workout, listening to Big Stick.
Yep.
It's AI.
Yeah.
And I was loving it.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not sure how I feel about that now.
Mate, I Sam, that's behind the camera for Redriven, my offsider. He and I...
he's here.
He's right here. Hi, Sam. He waved everybody. He and I, we found a funk cover of Back in Black by AC/DC. And I'm like, who is this band? Like, I come from playing music forever.
And you're a proper muso.
Well, I'm a drummer, so I hang out with musos.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to this thing going, this is like so funky. And I looked up who the band was. Yeah, completely AI. And there's all of these amazing funk covers of cracking rock songs.
What did my head in was the song didn't change. My knowledge, the epistemology of its creation changed for me, sort of thing. And now I'm torn.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
But okay, so if people you're into music, you've got a great taste in music. If we can't hear the difference in AI music, and coming from 30 years of doing it for a living, how long until we can't tell the difference between a real Maserati commercial and an AI Maserati commercial? I think that's really, really soon.
Well, like that, whatever his name was, dude doing motoring stuff that we talked about.
There's a bunch of them now.
Yeah, there's a heap of them. And I watched another legal one giving advice about what to say when the cops stop you, kind of thing, in New South Wales, citing all the legislation. But the dude was too perfect.
Yeah.
He didn't change enough.
Yeah.
He wasn't human, clearly.
Yeah.
And the only thing that fails, the Turing test?
No, what's that?
Turing was one of the fathers of computation, and they talked about the day in the future when you would be unable to distinguish between a conversation with a human and a conversation with a computer.
Right.
So that's the Turing test. Does it pass the Turing test? The conversations I have with ChatGPT fail the Turing test, but only because ChatGPT responds too quickly and in too well a thought out way.
Yeah.
In the printed sense, I don't converse verbally with ChatGPT, but I ask some question or get it to. I asked it the other day to calculate the mass of a truncated icosahedron.
Oh, you do that too? I did the same thing.
Yeah. The soccer ball shape is a truncated icosahedron. It's just made of hexagons and pentagons, right? So I'm welding one up, and I wanted to know how heavy it'd be and what size plate to get the bits laser cut from.
Yeah,
and I could calculate that, but it'd take me like 40 minutes. And I'd have to figure out the area of a pentagon and all of that shit. And I didn't want to do that. No. I've been there, done that, got the freaking T-shirt. So ChatGPT, hey, do this. And he goes, yeah, sure, blah, 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 blah. And I go, how much do you think the welds would add to the weight? And it's sort of said, well, it kind of depends on this and this and this. Yeah. And the only way I could distinguish between that and some engineering Yoda was it was too fast.
A bit too fast, yeah. Are there any Stellantis cars that you would still buy today?
No. Okay. No, I mean, I love cars. People get me wrong all the time, right, about what I say about cars, because I've spent the past, 15 years or something giving people advice about what to buy, not what to love.
Yeah.
And I get that people love Alfa Romeos, and I look at Alfa Romeo and I go, that's sexy, dude. And Alfa Romeo's big trick was sort of mainstream in the marketplace, in the pricing domain of the marketplace, but freaking sexy, like punching well above its weight in sexiness, Yeah. But you've got to be kidding about owning one. I've loved every Range Rover I've ever driven, but should I buy a Range Rover? No, dickhead. Rent one whenever you want one. But So no is the quick answer.
I would have agreed with you until Wednesday last week, or the week just gone. We're filming a Alfa Romeo Stelvio coming up.
Oh, yeah.
And two things have happened. Number one, I spoke to the owner of said Stelvio, who also happens to own an Alfa Romeo Giulia, both of the Quadrifoglio delineage, the sporty ones. But I'm currently living with a 2026 Honda Prelude at the moment. Something I really like about the Honda Prelude, it does feel like a car that we are going to see on our roads in the next 20 to 30 years. It's honestly that good. We're not being paid by Honda at all, but it's an exceptionally good car. Because it feels a bit old school. Like there's a lot of buttons. There's no touch screen for the climate control.
Don't tease me.
It's a great car. The guy that owns the Stelvio, he had a really great point. So his point was that he's never buying another two cars ever again. These two cars do exactly what he wants. He has the sedan and the SUV.
Yep.
He knows that Alfa Romeo will never make cars like these ever again. There's never going to be another twin-turbo 2.9-litre V6 car, sedan, and SUV like this. So he has no plan on ever replacing these cars. He also knows they've depreciated like crazy. So if he were to sell them in 5 or 10 years' time, he's going to lose a stack of money. So why not keep the cars for as long as humanly possible, pay the little bit of extra per year for upkeep and maintenance.
Yep.
Both those cars, we haven't done the Stelvio research yet, but we've done the Giulia research, and they're basically the same thing. Actually quite reliable. More reliable than what you'll generally find in an Audi or a BMW or a Mercedes-Benz, not Lexus levels of reliable.
Really?
They have some electronic issues, which are all back to the factory 12-volt battery being absolutely shit. That's easily fixed with an aftermarket battery. So once you've got the electronics fixed, they're actually pretty bloody solid as long as you service them right. So I'm like, you know what? And also the community around Alfa Romeo is fantastic, super supportive, really informative. So I argue that I would actually buy a Stelvio or a Giulia as long as you're planning on never, ever selling it and maintaining it for the rest of the time, because those cars will never be replaced in that style of car.
No.
The other one is the Jeep Wrangler. I wouldn't buy any other Jeep, even if you had a gun to my head. But the Wrangler, they're such a niche vehicle. The community around it, again, unbelievably supportive. There's a stack of aftermarket parts out there. And if you're the sort of person that is using a Wrangler to what they can do off-road and doing all that sort of stuff, I kind of argue that those three...
No, Wranglers are objectively terrible.
Oh, they're terrible. Terrible.
Oh, they're awful.
Oh, they're the worst. But
you know how...
for those people, they're great.
You know how the dark side of the Force calls out to Luke?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And just... It's there, and it's like an itch in the back of your head, and you know it's wrong.
Right.
But you think it might be so good. That's the Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT. For me.
Yeah,
I fucking love that car.
That's
the car that Jack Bauer saves America with. Saves
I
America.
I don't like him.
Really?
Yeah, because the reason being, for me, I just see massive compromise. I see an SUV that, because of its performance drops, now can't really be an SUV. You can't take it off road anywhere properly. But then it's not really a performance car either, because it's an SUV. So you're kind of getting a compromised performance car and a compromised SUV. That's why I like the Wrangler. It's all it's trying to do is one job: be good off road. It's shit on road. They're horrible unless you're doing proper off roading things.
The Grand Cherokee SRT. It's the perfect vehicle to transport your AR with its grenade launcher.
Because that's handy. You need
flamethrower.
Yeah,
the ballistic body armor.
Need all that in Australia.
Right?
Yep. Great.
That's just. I'm amazed that you're not seeing it.
I don't know. I've driven plenty. I drove a Trackhawk, and I'm like,
nah, that was like,
and even that, I was like, it's unbelievable.
No, I'm with you on Trackhawk. It's just,
but even SRT, like all the interior trim falls apart. The infotainment system sucks. They have endless electronic issues. They've got panel problems. The
trim doesn't just fall apart. It's like you take off and its inertia leaves it in the suburb that you're leaving.
Yeah. I couldn't deal with that many raffles.
Doesn't come with you.
I couldn't spend, what are they? Because they even on the used market, they still get good money. So I think they're north of, again, pulling numbers out of the air here, I think they're north of 80 grand, right? Yeah. Even now. So
I'm not suggesting I'm going to buy one. I'm just suggesting that it calls to me.
I know. Yeah, I just know. Like if you're going to spend that much money, buy a Stelvio.
It appeals to my id. It just does, dude.
Yeah, I think everything else, there isn't a Maserati I'd buy. Giulia, what was the horrible one? We shot it. Ghibli. Oh, what a piece of shit. Awful. Maybe the worst car we've ever reviewed. There's nothing in Maserati I'd actually spend money on. I love Peugeot because I've owned a few of them, but I would never buy a Peugeot now. There's not another Jeep. Going through all of the Stellantis products, it's got to be Giulia, Stelvio,
see,
and maybe Wrangler.
I love little cars that you can chuck.
Oh yeah,
like the Fiat 500 has a certain appeal to me because the whole HSV Senator kind of thing leaves me a bit cold, you know. But the little car that you can chuck, like awesome. And the Fiat 500 calls to me a little bit like that as well. But these days, I think I'd probably buy an Insta.
Yeah, they're great.
Because particularly the electric version of Insta.
Yep.
even though it was adapted from combustion and all of that stuff and therefore is inherently a bit compromised. When you add the mass, it stops it being one of those vibrating, horrible, takes out all the horrible bits of small car chuckability and just, it's a bit fun.
I'm with you. Fiat 500 or the Abarth 595, 695. I completely get it, right? I love them. They're fantastic. But for that money, I would personally buy a Suzuki Alto Works, which, yes, is an import, but it's a Japanese K car, so it's properly small. It actually has rear doors, unlike the 500-based stuff.
Yeah.
It actually has a decent boot. It's more fun to drive. It's lighter. It's simpler. It's got better build quality. It's more unique, I think, aesthetically.
Yeah, you're appealing to your rational brain with that, right?
Yeah.
Like you say, it's got doors and all this.
Yeah.
If you love the Fiat 500, it not having doors is like, it's incidentally, it doesn't have doors.
I do love, somebody told me once that the majority of proper Ferrari owners also have a 595 or 695 as the daily. Yeah. And I've got to admit, imagine popping open the garage roller door in the morning and you see your 458 Speciale next to a 695.
Yeah.
Like the Ferrari next to your little Fiat 500, that combo, I completely get that.
Yeah, but they've probably got another 10 cars as well. By the time you can spend that kind of money on one car.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I drove a Ferrari, it was a 550 Maranello. It was worth more than my house.
Yeah.
And it was kind of horrible and insane at the same time. It wouldn't go into second gear until it warmed up.
Yeah. Actually, I've got another question for you. I know this is breaking the rules. I'm only supposed to have one topic. Well, but very quickly, let's do a very quick John Cadogan opinion on the new manual Ferrari. Are you up on this at all?
No. The supercars leave me cold. Okay. Someone said Ferrari news, I'd go, wake me up when it's over.
No, this is a thing, and I think there's a bigger topic here. Really quick, for those that don't know, the 12 Cilindre, which is the V12 front-engined GT Ferrari.
Yeah.
They're doing a manual version of it.
Really?
It's funny, when the Luce came out, and I remember I had a bit of a rant online about it, and I made a comment saying, what real Ferrari owners want is a manual transmission. And I had a few people tear me to shreds in the comments going, oh, you're a dickhead, you don't know what you're talking about. They don't do a manual. And I remember thinking, no, it's going to happen. And here's my theory. What they've done is, you'll love this. So it's an 8-speed dual clutch gearbox, but they're manualizing 6 gears, 1 through to 6. So there's nothing mechanically attached to the gearbox. There's a clutch pedal. It drives exactly like a manual. You can stall it. You can stuff up shifts. You can all those things.
So it's shift by wire.
Yeah, and you can also select.
It emulates you fucking up if you fuck up.
Yeah. You
kind
can
of like the Hyundai
Ioniq 5N.
Ioniq 5N. Yeah.
But imagine that with a shifter and a clutch pedal.
Yeah.
So
is the clutch by wire or is it?
Yeah, everything's by wire. There's nothing mechanical. There's no hydraulics attached to the gearbox in any way, shape, or form.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's kind of heavily borrowed from Koenigsegg, which is another brand I know you absolutely love.
Yeah.
But I think this is Ferrari testing the waters. I think they're making 12 or 1,300 of them. I think this is Ferrari going, hang on a sec, let's see what's the response to these. They all sold out within 10 minutes.
Of course.
And I think we're going to start seeing Ferraris and Lamborghinis coming back with manual transmissions.
It's
now that they've done this,
because I think we're going to see more EVs emulating combustion.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Yep.
Because something is lost.
And here's the thing, not just through performance, not just for performance guys. My better half, every time we're in an EV, gets car sick. Morgan doesn't get car sick in any other vehicle, but in an EV, every single time. And this is a common thing. Sam and I have discussed it. We know videographers that when they're filming an EV, they get car sick. I don't know if it's the lack of vibration or the lack of whatever it is, or maybe it's just the elastic power band of an EV. But I know a lot of people that get sick. And I think if you replicate an internal combustion engine in an EV, I think that will actually help. Morgan didn't get sick in the Ioniq 5N.
I think it assists engagement with the driving process. The salient characteristic I see about a lot of EV owners who are quite enthusiastic is that they're not really into driving.
Yeah.
They tend to be IT wonks.
Yeah.
Or technology wonks, or some kind of wonk, or just they like the technology and the fact that it's transportation is kind of incidental.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And a lot of those people would disagree with me on that. I'm sure they say, oh, no, I'm a real driver. But no, dude, you're not.
No.
You know?
No. Look, if you've got an MX-5 in the garage for a Sunday and you've got an EV Monday through Saturday because it makes sense for you. Cool, great. I think this Ferrari thing. I think we're going to start seeing a few companies go, okay, so you can make a dual clutch a manual, all right. Then all of a sudden you've got this whole other market of car enthusiasts that you can actually look after, and you can choose between manual and auto.
Yeah,
but it adds credibility to your product as well.
Being able to turn their manualisation off and just let a computer make the decisions is great in traffic.
It's fantastic.
Like, driving a manual's not fun.
Yeah.
In rush hour traffic. Like, you got to be kidding.
Yeah. Highly recommend, both you and our listeners and viewers, check out the tech in that Ferrari manual dual clutch. It's fascinating.
I might depart from my code of ethics.
Yeah.
And actually pay attention to something Ferrari did.
Should we answer a question?
We shall. Questions at autouncovered.com.au if you'd like to grab the feeler gauges and stick them into us on particular issues relating to automotive or this and that. Ask us anything. We aren't necessarily going to answer everything, but, you might as well have a crack.
Alan would like to know, given a clean slate, how would you structure the training to obtain a driver's license? Starting age, mandatory training, etc., things like that.
I'd make it less about the rules and more about competence and safety and more about risk management, because it's easy to comply with the rules and be a bit shit as a driver. Like, there's all these skills that are seemingly not taught, at least not formally. It kind of depends how you roll the dice and whether you get a good dad or a good mum who knows how to drive and can help you along, or a good driving instructor, someone like you or me might say, hey, dickhead, do this. Basic skills like when a car's coming towards you at night, look away from the headlights at the edge of the road. Don't focus your primary vision on the bit that's going to blind you.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Funny that.
Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit of focus on advanced driving skills to the extent that they are actually advanced, such as if you need to take evasive action ever, there's a child standing in front of the road and you've got a moral compass, so you want to swerve. It'd be nice to have people trained to do basic things like hands on the wheel at 9 and 3 so you don't lose indexing on where straight ahead is, and then look at the gap, not at the problem, because if you look at the problem, you're going to hit it. So you get target fixation, you'll steer towards that in that moment of stress, and you'll try and put the pieces together in your head afterwards. But if you train yourself like you do in contact sport, for example, to look at the opportunity as opposed to the problem, it often works out a lot better. And so things of this nature. I'd also like to see a little bit of mechanical competency, such as checking the tyre pressures and knowing about the vital fluids, and maybe getting a bit better prepared for especially long trips, because in Australia we do regional travel from time to time. It's a big place with not much in it at times, and it'd be lovely to have people set off with enough oil in the sump and enough coolant in the radiator and enough air in the frickin' tyres. And if you did that, then the NRMA dude would be having a pleasant little latte a lot more often than just rushing from job to job trying to pick up the preventative, the things that could have been prevented easily.
Yeah. I'd like to implement the traffic offenders program, what you go through in that, as part of just getting your license. I think exposing young people, new drivers, to the horrors of a drink driving or a speeding accident and seeing what happens there.
The consequences.
The consequences, I think, would shift attitudes quite quickly. I think I've been through the traffic offenders program many years ago due to a stupid speeding incident, which I regret. Thank God no one was hurt, but I was a dickhead, basically. And going through that course did change me. Like going from, I am 100% a hoon. It really calmed me down. And I think also doing some kind of driver training early on where you are out of control of your car. Because I think, look, thank God the majority of people out there have never been in a truly out of control car. But when you feel that you have lost any hope, it's terrifying. And I think you suddenly understand what the ramifications are for driving like a dickhead, and you never really want to experience that again. And guys can carry on and have all the bravado going, oh, no, it's sick, it was heaps of fun. No, it's not. That's bullshit.
Yeah, on the 2 points there. On the business about losing control, it's when you learn to drive, you do this process and you acquire a library in your head of feedback responses from the control architecture in the car. Like this much on the wheel means this much on the yaw of the car, and this much on the brakes means I slow down this much, and this much on the gas means we accelerate this hard, kind of thing, right? That's the only three things cars ever do. And you develop a library in your head within the bounds of your experience of the responses of the car, and usually you don't lose control.
Yeah.
Right? So when you do lose control, it's completely it doesn't make sense.
No.
You know, like it's outside your frame of reference because you've never experienced that before, and that's why people get it wrong. So in every other walk of life, there's when things matter, when there's consequences, there's emergency procedures, right? Like if you use a lathe, some shit can happen that you could start crashing the tool into the chuck. That's bad, you know. So there's a big red button on the lathe and you hit it. It's the emergency stop button. There's one there behind your head on that drill press. It's got emergency stop written on it, for example, right? And that doesn't mean you get yourself into situations where you're required to do that shit. If you're a pilot, there's a whole bunch of emergency procedures with breakers and what happens if engine 3 catches fire and what happens if we lose an engine between V1 and V2 and all of that stuff, right? With cars, we don't do that. With driving, we don't do that. And to me, that's just nuts.
Yeah.
You know, because bad shit happens. What we, I think, do at the moment is we try and terrify learners into just maintaining their driving within that envelope that they're familiar with.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, you know, you can be driving along and have a blowout on a tyre, or a kid can just come out and
Exactly.
kangaroo can be right in front of you. And if you haven't rehearsed what you're going to do in your head, it's not much of a victory, I would argue, to miss the kangaroo and then snot a gum tree.
Yeah.
Like that's a net poor result for you and your family.
Yeah. I think as well, a bigger focus on situational awareness and courtesy. The amount of times, especially in Sydney, I see people driving and I'm like, you're looking about 30 centimetres in front of your car and that's it. There's no situational awareness at all. Even in terms of behind, the amount of times I'm on the freeway and some muppet is in the right lane and for 15 minutes they've never looked in their mirrors. And you're like, where's the situational awareness?
Yeah.
But also the courtesy thing's huge for me.
Sure.
This isn't a problem really, I think, even at all in Sydney. Like if you want to change lanes, someone will let you in. If you want to pull out from a service station driveway, someone will let you in.
Which fucking parallel universe are you in?
Mate, I reckon out of everywhere I drive in Australia, I'm not going to name other cities, but I've had multiple times where I try to change lanes. I'm like, sorry, I didn't realise there was an award at the end of this street for who gets there first. People blocking you out. In Sydney, I'll indicate. I'll barely look at my blind spot because I just know we all work together. It's like a zip. We all work together.
Would you do that in Woolworths? You know, with the like that's the acid test. Would you do that to the granny in Woolworths?
Yeah.
You know, no, I'm gonna carve you up. You're not.
You stupid old bitch! Get out of the road.
Imagine if we had horns on the trolley.
That'd be great. A little glass cube.
The other thing I'd suggest about driving and hoons, right, is that in a lot of activity, recreational activity, driving for many people is also a recreational activity. It was for me for a long time, right? And I still get a kick out of it. So in a sense, it still is. But for a lot of quote unquote hoons, driving's a recreational activity in which they want a thrill. And I'd suggest that in some, and there's a lot of thrills available in a lot of different recreational activities like rock climbing or martial arts, whatever, right? With driving, the risk is real and the consequences are extremely severe, and it's a high probability of shit going wrong if you want, quote unquote, a thrill. So you've got to get the risk profile of driving under control. And if you want a thrill, take up rock climbing or learn boxing.
Yeah, buy a mountain bike.
Yeah, exactly. Go down hills really fast and miss that rock and that tree.
Yeah.
Or don't.
Yeah. Also, driving isn't a right. I think a lot of people feel like, oh, this is my right to drive.
I'm entitled to drive.
No.
Yeah.
No, you're not. It's not a right. You know.
Totally agree.
So I think there's some attitude things I'd love to see change. I think that's what we would change. There's probably a bloody million things I'd like to change about getting a license. But yeah, I think driver training, more awareness, more courtesy. I think that's got to be the top list. Yeah.
Okay, so we've done that question justice, and now I know you're such a big tool guy.
Can I just explain for those listening? We're sitting at the work desk. What's the official word for this desk?
Bench.
Bench.
Bench. It was a spindle moulder.
Of course it was. And I'm currently looking at, it feels like at least a dozen various tools.
It's 1,000 different.
It's 1,000. I'm looking at 1,000 different adjustable pliers and spanners and all sorts of things here.
Okay, so
what's going on?
So Brett from Driving Enthusiast, Brett Davis, our mate, who does a great job reviewing cars.
Legend.
He's the perfect guy to review cars.
He's fantastic.
Present company accepted.
He's more talented than I am.
He's good at reviewing cars. Anyway, Brett brings his X3, his Mrs. X3 over to my other fat cave, and we put it up on the hoist.
Yep.
And he's going to change the rear brakes, right? And that was just a shit show for a variety of reasons, but mainly due to technology. You've got to spoof the computer into letting go of the handbrake, and then you've got to spoof the computer into releasing the non-return valve so you can push the piston back, and then you can do the old-fashioned job of just changing the brakes, which is actually the easiest part of the freaking job because you don't have to figure out how to get into service mode. And
don't need an IT degree.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need a 15-year-old to help you. So anyway, we're there. And I've got quite a few tools over at the other fat cave. And Brett's going about most of that job. When he needs a hand, I come over and give him a hand. And he goes, "Hey, have you got a thin-jawed 15mm wrench?" Because when you put the calipers back together, there's a round bar that is kind of like a bolt that holds the two parts of the caliper together. And there's two flats milled into it that takes a 15mm wrench.
Can I just interrupt really quick? How stupid is it that they've used a 15? Because every toolkit you buy from Bunnings or wherever, none of them have a 15.
Yeah, they do.
Mate, I've got two toolkits. I had to go and buy a 15mm socket and a 15mm wrench because both my toolkits. Yeah, but out of the box.
Yeah. Well, these are from a box of wrenches? Like, come on.
Well, mine didn't. Two of mine didn't have a 15.
Well.
I went 14, 16. I'm like, where the bloody hell's a 15?
Stop shopping in the fucking Bunnings, dude. Buy from a proper tool shop. Anywho.
All right, anyway, yeah.
None of the wrenches fit because the Germans believe in making servicing interesting, don't they?
Interesting is a good choice of words.
Last week on the pod, we talked about this whole EDC idea where you carry overlapping envelopes of capability in your toolkit. So I go through every 15mm wrench I've got over there and none of them fit. And I subsequently mic'd them all up. Like we needed one that was about 6mm, like a quarter of an inch in the old money.
Yep.
These are all like 8, 7 point something to 8. The only one I could find is this Vera one here from this. It's also a German wrench.
Yeah, very thin, very, very thin.
Kit of expensive Vera wrenches that includes 15.
I like that they're color coded.
Yeah.
Hope everybody liked the ASMR of very heavy Velcro opening then as well.
I love that. Just like being in the dungeon, isn't it?
Imagine going to sleep to the sound of Velcro being ripped open.
So anyway, that's the other, and it's not over there because it's here.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
And that's kind of a problem.
Always the way.
Yeah. So out comes the EDC and out comes these adjustable pliers.
Love it.
Right?
Yep.
So I'm going to get you to do a little experiment for me because
Yes.
You've never handled these kinds of adjustable pliers.
No.
I'll just get you to grab one of my nuts there. Right?
I thought you'd never ask.
Yeah. And just squeeze it a little bit with that wrench.
Yes.
And have a nice big lever on that.
That's lovely.
How positive is that?
That feels so good.
It does. It's good for me too.
So, despite what it sounds like, if you're listening to this, I currently hold
one of John's nuts in a vice.
Okay, it's a legit metal nut. This is getting worse.
This is a 24mm across the flat nut designed for an M16 thread.
Yes.
Right?
God, you say all the right things, don't you?
I do.
And then, then adjustable pliers, which feel fantastic. That's in a, can I? I'm going to adjust the angle of this. Also, it's got little.
Well, why don't you grab my smaller nut now? I know you reached for the big one initially. They all do.
Yeah.
Right. Now try this little one here. and just whip that jaw up. And for those of you listening, Ads is doing a pretty good job here, being a first-time small nut squeezer.
That's really nice. Actually, I'm going to go even slightly adjusting down, so I've got a closer gap between the handles. Is this the first time this has ever been done on a podcast?
I think so. There is a point to all of this.
Yeah, I hope so. Because I'll be honest, like if I was listening to this right now, I feel like you really
clicking away.
You really need the visual aspect of this.
Some people are going to watch on YouTube. You know that,
this is true.
This
is true.
Right?
Yeah.
So anyway, what a positive grip experience. Now, this is an M5 set screw, which has only 8 millimeters across the flats.
Okay.
Adjust again. You'll have to adjust again, which is just a great list. Dead airspace with two hosts. Fantastic. Isn't it, really? So how does that feel?
Even people watching at home are like, skip this, scroll forward. Yeah. They feel really nice.
They do.
They feel really,
awesome.
Really nice.
And they fit that slot that only Germans could put into this thing. Okay, so the point, there's a couple of points about this.
Yes.
Is what you carry in your EDC really matters, your everyday carry for...
Yep.
It really is about your work envelope and how it can expand that. Now, I didn't cunningly plan that. You know, it just happened that we were lucky and got away with it with that. But, you know, in situations where you're working mostly on cars, you're working with these flanged head set screws that people call bolts that go into things like tapped holes on an engine bay or something. So you only need one wrench. But occasionally there's a through bolt that's got like a hex on the bolt and the same hex on the nut. And you're very rarely carrying two of the same size wrenches are. In your case, you could have your two kits and you wouldn't have two 15s anyway.
Exactly right.
Kind of thing. That little Klein Tools 180 millimeter pliers wrench thing is got these high leverage jaws. So the jaws actually move up and down in a slide way. It's super clever piece of design.
Yeah. So
in like a, the Americans call them channel locks, but the plumbing pliers. There's only two bits. Right? There's the jaws are connected to the handles in your standard channel lock type pliers, multi grips, whatever. That's not the case there.
No. Okay. Again, if you're listening to this, the only analogy I can come up with, it looks like the rear suspension design on a really high-end downhill mountain bike.
There's a slide way.
Right? There's a multiple pivot points, and the way it goes up and down is actually quite beautiful.
And it includes greater mechanical advantage. Now, if you're an engineer, you can actually just very simply work out the numbers here. Okay, so this sort of channel lock pliers that plumbers use on PVC fittings and all of that stuff to change washers in taps and drainage and all of that, they've got mechanical advantage of about 6 to 1. Okay, so if you squeeze with about 10 kilos of force, you get about one stripper between the jaws.
Right.
The metric stripper, 16 per tonne. 62.5 kilos each. According to AS 6901.
Of course.
People who
didn't need to explain that. Everybody knows this.
Persons who undress for the purpose of entertainment. That one, right? 62.5 or 613 newtons. Per stripper. Right. So about one stripper out of a set of channel locks with a moderate 10 kilo grip. The Pliers wrench, these red ones are German.
Right.
The Pliers wrench, 20 to 1.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So the jaws move a long way with your plumbing multi-grip type pliers. And the handles move a long way. Same motion on the handles. Check out how far the jaws move. Use these ones. They're about the same size. Right? So you get a lot of movement of the handle and not much movement of the jaws equals more mechanical advantage. So you're getting 3 times as many strippers.
That's amazing.
Right? And that's why it feels so good when you squeeze my nuts with them.
we should say we are in no way, shape or form sponsored by Klein Tools. This is not a paid for.
Well, we've got all these other ones.
We've got heaps of brands.
The OG of these. The reason Klein Tools makes sense, this is just a piece of advice for anyone who wants to equip themselves for, motoring what can happen out in the field, right? These red and blue Knipex ones from Germany are the OG ones. But if you want to buy the set of 5, it's like $600.
Oh, Christ.
Right?
Okay.
So they're as expensive AF, right?
Wow.
Now, you think AF means one thing with the nuts. These are expensive AF.
That is a lot of money. Okay.
But now there are some knockoffs appearing in the market. And one of the knockoffs is from America, which is these Klein Tools ones with the orange handles.
Yeah.
And I was carrying them because if I lose a set, I won't cry as hard as if I lose a pair of Knipex.
Knipex, yeah.
You know. So the Klein Tools, I got the 10-inch ones and the 7-inch ones for like $100.
Okay.
Right, as a pair.
Right.
And that's pretty cool.
That's pretty good.
And then there's the Japanese option, which is a similar price. They got 7 and 10. And
I want to see the Japanese ones.
they're pretty nice as well. They're the black ones here and this other set of black ones. And they got a different, they got a slightly different jaw design.
Yeah.
Right? The slidey bit is on the inside as opposed to on the outside.
Yep.
But essentially they work the same way, right? Now, what you did before with that set you were holding before was you were holding an 8mm hex, which is for an M5 set screw, with the same set of pliers that you were holding a 24mm hex. When you buy your several $100 pair of set of ASMR Vera wrenches, which are hellishly expensive, you get from 8 to 19, which is a pretty standard quote unquote mechanics set of spanners from 8mm to 19 in 1mm increments. You can't hold the M16
of course
hex, right? Whereas you can use that one set of pliers, and you're driving down the Unidata track, your toe ball gets loose.
Yeah.
That's a wrench that's big enough for that. And not only that, there'll be someone in the comments that go, I just use a adjustable hammer. You know, I'll just use me nut fucker. That's fine, except sometimes you're lying on your back under a car and you've got to reach way up here and you've got to hold one of the hexes positively, which a adjustable hammer will not do.
No. So basically, if you get a set, say set of 3,
you get a set of you can get 2 or 3 with the Klein Tools, but you only need 2.
Okay.
And it's like $103.
And that should get you out of trouble.
That's your other set of wrenches.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Right? Like you buy one set of box wrenches to do some sort of repair work on your car. You get just one of them. Like this notional 8-inch one is your other set of spanners.
Yeah.
And you can use them to hold like their positive grip and all of that stuff. I just reckon this is one of those unknown tools. Hardly anyone ever is aware that this style of pliers wrench exists. Yeah. The Japanese option is pretty good as well. It's a Fujiya one. They've got this premium black brand called, I don't know, Kurokin. Kurokin desu ka.
That was great. Right. I got to give it to Japan. Like the Japanese stuff, they're just, man.
It is pretty sexy. And
so good.
I just thought, the careful curation of a few tools here and there. You don't have to be a nutcase like me and walk around with some tools in a bag just in case you're the guy who fix it and that's okay. Defines who you are. But because you just fucked up like that, But you probably want to carry some tools in your car. Yeah. And a set of wrenches like that, like a set of pliers like that, punches well above its weight in terms of what it does for your capability envelope in the field.
I'm going to get a couple because like anytime I do like a decent road trip, I'll take some tools. But what I end up inevitably taking is like a whole bunch of wrenches, whereas a couple of these and I'm done. Yeah, which is great. Luckily, I've not needed them, but yeah, that's cool. That's a great tip.
In this thing with that I was doing with Brett, that the EDC actually got us out of the shit because we're going to have to properly butcher it otherwise. Yeah. I didn't that's.
I wouldn't have had to go and buy 15mm sockets and wrenches because I could have just bought. If I had one of these, I would have been solved. Yeah, I would have saved myself some money.
A socket does some things that a parallel set of jaws can't do, and obviously the torque and all of that stuff. The other thing about these wrenches that you probably haven't picked up on. Using them in this way here on the bench, just squeezing one of my nuts gently on request, and I normally pay a stern German woman extra for that kind of thing. But if you do this the right way, if you turn them the right way, like you can grip it jaws up or jaws down kind of thing, depending on the job at hand. If you do it the right way, when you pull on this, it actually makes the grip tighter. You're adding strippers
Wow.
as you
Yeah,
crank on
wow.
it, right?
Okay.
Whereas when you use your set of plumbing pliers, your channel locks, the more you crank on it, you got to crank harder
Yeah.
to turn harder.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been stuck with that situation multiple times.
And you just butcher it,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because they're really only meant for these low torque
Applications.
plumbing. I like that.
Like that?
I like that. That
There
was
you go.
almost engineering speak there.
Well, we'll get there one day.
Tell me how you did it, because I was so good at it, I became a journalist.
Mate, this has been fascinating. Thank you so much for the tool talk.
The props.
This was John's tool talk
Yes,
on
it
Auto
was.
Uncovered.
It was. It would be interesting to see how that translates into the audio domain, but hopefully we were descriptive enough. And if you just get to Google and type in the words pliers wrench, you will see a picture of what the F we've been talking about.
Really good.
We've done it.
We've done it.
Another ep, mate.
Again, questions at autouncovered.com.au. Send in your questions. We love getting them. Quick tip though, if you're going to send a question in, we love all the questions, but remember that the questions should be quite broad. There's been a few questions about very specific cars and moments, like, hey, here's this particular car on this particular website. Should I buy it? So whatever the question is, let's keep it quite broad because it has to obviously appeal to and interest the largest possible community.
Yeah, I had a guy sent me 3 audio recordings and wanted a diagnosis of what was wrong with his car the other day.
Yeah.
And I don't have that superpower.
Yeah, I got on Messenger. I had probably a year ago. I had a guy come through with a video of a rattle in his dashboard,
Right.
trying to work out what it was. I'm like, I'm not a mechanic.
It's a rattle in your dashboard, dude.
Yeah,
But you already knew that.
Yeah. Questions at autouncovered.com.au. And again, as broad as possible. That'd be great.
Yeah, make it something that if someone else can relate to it, we might answer that one.
Also, like, subscribe, share, do all those things. It helps us immensely. See you next week.
Deal.
Done.